Good morning. Uh, how many of you have been in a situation where getting out of bed has been the worst struggle of your life? Whether you were up the night before studying or writing an informative speech or just at work. I know I've been in that situation many times. And the day just keeps going worse and worse, and both physically and mentally, you're just not there. What I do is that I turn to coffee or a caffeinated drink. And if you do that too, we're not alone. According to the FDA, about 80% of all adult Americans drink something caffeinated daily. And it isn't just and caffeine isn't just something that keeps you awake, but it also is a stimulant for your central nervous system, which has a lot of negative effects. Today I'm going to explain to you the effects it has on your body. Many don't know, but caffeine is the most widely used drug in the planet. It's a stimulant drug, such as cocaine. It affects the sympathetic nervous system, which controls the fight or flight mode you have in your body. It speeds up your heart rate and your breathing, and it triggers your alertness, so you're more alert to everything that's around you. And it could also cause muscle tension. Around 400 milligrams of caffeine causes this, which is equivalent to 4 cups of coffee, which is the limit the FDA regulates for everyone. You'll be fine if you drink about 400 milligrams of coffee, unless you're prone to anxiety, which which caffeine is known to increase. It can cause drastic speed and even irregular heartbeat, which could lead to serious and even fatal situations. Caffeine can lead to sleep deprivation, and it's known to cause your body to ignore signs of tiredness and restfulness. Even though caffeine keeps you up and it gives you those short bursts of energies, it doesn't replenish energy or any fatigue in general. Only food and sleep can do that. It's recommended not to consume anything heavy with caffeine late in the evening to promote healthy sleep. Like mentioned before, caffeine is a stimulant drug, just like cocaine. So for many people who are very dependent to caffeine, which I could say I am, it's really hard to just quit drinking or stop drinking caffeine. Some of the side effects, if you just decide to stop drinking it, is headaches, nervousness, nausea, or muscular tension. It starts to appear around 12 to 24 hours after you decide to stop drinking any caffeine, and it lasts for about a week. Since caffeine is considered a stimulant drug, dependency, some people become so dependent on it that they decide to ignore the physical and mental problems that comes with it. To conclude, caffeine has many effects in the body, from energy to just mood swings to sleep deprivation to anxiety. And even though it's good to have those small bursts of energy, I hope that with this information provided, a lot of people can now watch how much caffeine they take, and next time they decide to drink their 10th cup of coffee during the day, they could think twice about it. Thank you.
Xavier's supposed to do the oral evaluation. Not here, huh? All right, so we can manage to get by that, and I will just go ahead with my comments. I like the visualization that you have at the beginning, the description that you're giving. I think that that works pretty well, but it's undermined a little bit by the title card that's up there that already tells us where you're headed, and it seems like, you know, it just kind of steps on the idea of what you're doing. If you were going to have that, you could save it until you reveal what the purpose statement is. That might work a little bit better. I think you've got a good set of statistics there at the beginning to indicate why it is we're talking about this. You know, that 80% of us consume this on a regular basis. I think that that's should involve everybody, and we'll probably be engaged as a consequence of that. So you've got a good solid start here. There's not a preview of what the structure is going to be. I know what the purpose statement is, but how are you going to talk about it? That I'm not quite clear on. How those points are going to develop. Now, in the body of the speech, it does shift a little bit because you do kind of have a couple of topical things that you discuss. The effect on like fight or flight and the sleep deprivation issues. So I guess those are the two effects that you're going to talk about. And then if there is a third section, it's about what happens if you stop using caffeine. So maybe that's what the third point is. But it should be clearer that that's what the structure of the speech is. I'm kind of having to create this in my mind as I'm listening to you. You want to help your audience, and giving them a plot, telling them here's where we're headed, pointing out the things along the way. That's the thing that's going to help them hold on to information and make sense of what you're talking about. You had information on those points that we just mentioned, but I didn't hear any source citations being presented to support any of those things, which seemed a little bit strange to me. Since you obviously did some research, why didn't you use the research to help build some credibility and cite the sources in the presentation? You need to do that. That's one of the reasons that we did that first speech, so that people know how to make sure to cite their material, and you're not, you're missing that. That's an important component you're going to have to add to your presentations. I think you could make it more interesting to the audience if you used more real examples. You can use a personal example. I mean, you mentioned a couple of times that every time you spoke about yourself, I thought that made it more interesting, that you kind of joked about consuming your amount of caffeine or needing it to get out of bed in the morning. Well, tell us a story about somebody who does that sort of thing, or you could give us a hypothetical of a person who's going through, they decided to cut down on their use of caffeine. Maybe they became a Mormon and they said, oh, I'm not supposed to have that in my diet anymore. And the first week that they were there, they had the symptoms that you're talking about. I mean, I'm not saying that make something up, but there's got to be something that's going to make this a little bit more interesting. This just feels like you've got some good information. There's a way that it can be organized, but the information is not very engaging at this point, and that's one of the things that you as a speaker need to do. That's kind of your job, is to make the information more engaging to the audience. It's not just to present data. Read a book. Anybody could read the book to present the data. You have to make it something that's engaging to the audience, something that they want to listen to and care about. And so you got to add a little bit more here, and I think that that's the thing that's missing on this. So you've got some of the basics. I think you need to work on the structural stuff, definitely need to work on the citation things. I thought you did a pretty nice job speaking to the audience for the most part. Delivery things I think are going to go okay for you in the future. I'm hoping that, that we're building on this. We just got to get some mechanics taken care of here. All right, thank you. A little brief too, you probably are aware of that. The speech was half the time that you had allocated, so. All right. Well, is there anybody who's a day 3 speaker who would like to speak today and is ready to go? Because I'm happy to listen to your speech now. This is complicated. Let me see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people who have not spoken in the 2 days that we've done things so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 people have spoken. So we've had just over half as many people speak as who have not spoken. I'm not sure what's going on here. Makes me a little bit nervous.